We're just waiting for Seth. I just emailed him the link. For some reason he couldn't find it. So.
Where did we end up on signups?
Signups around 90. Which is, to be honest, which is the worst this year, for
It helps.
anyways.
It helps when when people actually pull their weight. So I have to take full responsibility for not doing that our end. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, everybody can promote after that. By the way, we get a lot of views after the event. So, okay. I'm not sure, why Seth is not joining now. I sent him the link earlier. I just sent him the link now. I'll wait for him for like 2 more minutes and we can start and he can join, I guess, and we can continue.
About 8 minutes each, right? Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna cut if you guys go over, but I'm trying to do it this is my view. You should be able to tell your story and what you guys are doing in like 10 minutes. And we don't want to bore people away. Besides that, there's people who are gonna watch the World Cup in 1 hour, so we need to be.
Yeah, I won't probably take up the full 10 minutes.
Yeah. By the way, I'm always trying to optimize this time that it takes for the webinar, because I watched a lot of events. Sometimes I've spent like 2 hours to wait to speak. So I said, okay, man, that's too much. Okay. Okay, Seth, you're just on time, man. We're about to start without you. I was just counting,
I was waiting for that link, man.
Yeah, man, I sent it this morning,
I've looked for it. I didn't see it anywhere. That's weird.
Yeah, you have too many emails, too many domain names. You have the IO one, the US one.
They all go to the same place, man.
They go. It doesn't matter, no.
The illusion of choice.
Yeah, man. See, this is why you should never give choice. No, wife, partners, anybody. Too much choices, you get in trouble. So, okay, guys, we're here. We're just 3 minutes late, but it's okay. 3 is my favorite digit. So, let me share my screen and we can actually start with our last webinar of 2022. Okay. Okay, guys, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the webinar is for obviously 2023. 2020 is almost over. We have like 2 weeks. So whatever we have done it. There is no going back. But obviously next year, what we're doing continues. So if we have not done some of our plans, I think we're going to give you some tips on how you can do that. So the topic is about e-commerce growth plan for 2023, expansion, owing growth to brand insights, reimbursement, and taxes. And here today we have several speakers, which are the following: Chaim Morgan, global head of BizDev at Threecolts; Jim Mann, VP of Europe of GETIDA and a close friend of mine; John Jacobs, strategic partnership at Swiftline and Charm.io; Seth Hurd, founder of Brand Expand, and me, Nick Penev. I'm the partner manager of hellotax and the founder of Extreme Power Brands. And today I'm gonna give a little spotlight about our sponsors, which are my partnership agency, Extreme Power Brands. We provide partnership growth and a network for over 1,000 e-commerce companies. We help them grow through partnerships, and we're giving away one free partnership audit for free. The value for that is €1,000, and you can qualify only if you're e-commerce service providers. Our silver sponsor today is Zappix. Zappix is a real-time AI-powered operations assistant to run your Amazon and DTC store. They're giving away free onboarding session and customer lifetime reports for the first free webinar. Registrants just need to email them at marketing@zappix.io with the subject hellotax after the event. So enough about the sponsorship. So let's talk about the topics today. So the agenda is first, Seth is gonna introduce himself and brand expand, because whatever you do, expansion is the best way to grow your company. So he's gonna give you tips about how to drive traffic and launching products in 2023. After that, I'm gonna talk about the unsexy topic of taxes, but I'm gonna make it sexy because Europe is not only good space, good continent for vacation. There is a lot of clients waiting for you. To be exact, 450 plus. The data here is a little inaccurate. So after that, Chaim and Threecolts are gonna talk about unmatched technology innovation to increase your e-com profits, because revenue is not important. Profit is what makes sense. This is what you take home and how they value it to sell your business. After that, Jim is going to talk about how to optimize for cash flow and protect your margin in 2023. Again, margin, profit. And at the end, John is going to represent Chart.io, which is a great software which we're using in my agency and several of our partners. She's going to talk about how to build the perfect pipeline with in-depth data and insights. And in between each session, we're going to have a Q&As with some of the speakers. And at the end, we're going to answer all the questions which are left, because we have some which were sent by people who cannot attend the event. So thank you again for joining the event. And let's start with the first speaker, which is Seth. You came last, but you're going to continue first. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and you can share. If you don't want to share, you can just talk about yourself and what you guys are doing and how you help e-commerce brands. So thank you for joining again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You've provided a lot of partnerships for us, so I appreciate all that, Nick. So Brand Expand is a product launch, an omni-channel expansion software that also provides marketing research and KPI tools for third-party sellers. So I created Brand Expand back in 2018. I was a third-party seller. We saw a huge opportunity to really help sellers drive external traffic. There wasn't any really good software that was doing that. And so we helped clients, very manual process in the beginning, a lot of G sheets, just starting the business out. But we started the software in 2019, and then we were able to release it in around this time last year. And so now we have multiple different launch methods. We have different launch subtypes. We have different ways for our customers to communicate marketing research to those sellers to help better their listings and improve conversion rates. And we're also going to build out additional tools to help them understand ROI better. And also there's a lot of different ways to drive traffic, right? There's search engine type launches you can do with Bing and Google. You can do Facebook launches. TikTok is getting huge nowadays. So there's multiple ways to drive traffic to your listing, and we have different features in the pipeline to really create features that are going to do all of that for these third-party sellers in an easy way. That's all.
I think we've lost Nick. You there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, Seth. So is that all, man? You're like Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, that's all for now. I mean, unless you have questions.
Yeah, of course we have some questions. So let's go to the questions, Nick. So a question that we have from one attendee, which is called Ben Epstein. What new strategies are sellers using to launch products and drive external traffic in 2023?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're seeing, so last year around this time, of course, people are using this magic URL, right? Everybody was talking about in a non-compliant way to rank traffic. And so what people are doing now is using Amazon attribution links, along with Google Ads to help drive that traffic and rank traffic in a compliant way, because essentially you're just communicating with Amazon saying, this is what the customer is searching for on Google, and thus ranking keywords that way. So that's kind of the first compliant way. And there are tools out there that help with that. We're also building something within our own software. So using Google Ads in conjunction with Amazon attribution links is really, over the past year, has been becoming more and more popular. We're seeing a huge emergence of TikTok ads, and the ACoS of those is extremely low if you can find an effective way to do that. The challenge is there's a lot of testing that goes involved because there's just not a lot of analytics that you can get from TikTok. But if you get your campaigns right and you find the right influencers and creators to create that content for you, you can drive that traffic and then have it, rank keywords in a compliant way using TikTok. And then, of course, there are still, Facebook campaigns using different ManyChat flows are still relevant, but they're becoming much less relevant this year and next year as Amazon kind of cracks down on that rank manipulation and compliancy.
Okay, guys. Thanks, Ethan. Okay, man. Okay, and Jim, John, Chaim, can you jump in here now? Can you give some feedback about this question from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, ranking's kind of always on the edge of everyone's lips, and it's just interesting if there's there's one thing that you would do now that's having the best impact on launches that people could take. And I know it's not easy, but what do you say is the biggest impacting ranking strategy right now?
Yeah, it is hard because and people always they don't want to hear this, but honestly, if customers acting in the most organic way, buying your product is going to be the most effective. You can, throw out all these fancy URLs. There's how many different kinds of special URLs nowadays that you can use. There's multiple, you can do redirects, you can do social sharing, you can do rotator links, or you can get super, super complex. But the reality is, if you find a way to have your customers organically find your product and go through a process that's in a compliant way to find your product, and perhaps provide feedback on your product and then purchase it, that's usually the most effective. Or the 1,000+ launches we've seen, that those are the most effective.
So the way you build that listing in terms of the keyword research before and everything like that would still be, I guess, the most important, as opposed to figuring out how you're going to drive that external traffic. That would be obviously your bread and butter, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just
how often do you have to tell your list? Sorry, Seth.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, how often do you have to tell your clients that their listings suck and it's not about the external traffic?
More than I would like to. Yeah. I mean, that's the reality is people, it seems so simple, just have enough inventory, right? Look at your competitors or top three competitors and stock as much as them, right? Maybe not the first time around, but if you're trying to rank up by them, you have to have the inventory. Otherwise, Amazon's not going to rank you regardless of how amazing your listing is or how well you can rank the traffic, right? So have enough inventory and just have a really good listing that's going to convert, right? A really good copy, have A+ content, right? All those things. And that's really going to sustain the ranking. You don't want to waste money launching your product, getting it, ranking up by your competitors, and then just have it drop because you have a shitty listing. Sorry for the, but it happens a lot, yeah. And it's a waste of money. Yeah.
No, it's the same for the PPC guys, right? It's a lot of people focus on PPC and ranking strategies and sort of forget getting back to basics on conversion and the listing optimization before all of that effort.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. By the way, guys, have you heard of brand partnerships? Two different two brands in the same category teaming up if they have external email listing, just cross promoting each other. I actually spoke in a webinar recently, and that's what we do on the service provider side. And they asked somebody, and they told me, I know that some of the aggregators were doing. I'm not sure if Tracer was doing that, Jim. You buy brands, or let's say, if you don't buy brands, you find companies who are in the same category. They're selling to the similar clients, but not competitive product. And if you guys have email lists, we can cross promote each other. You can do joint offers, and you pay zero for that. You just need to share. So I'm not sure if you have clients doing that, or if anybody is offering that, by the way, is a service.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've definitely approached people about this. because really like our end goal is to provide as much value to our sellers as possible. And really, if you have a list of buyers that are interested in certain products, right, share that with somebody else and to, have them share something. It doesn't hurt you really at all, And so we've talked to different agencies about sharing those networks essentially.
Yeah, but actually, this is a good question now for John. With Charm, I'm not. You're going to talk about that, but I know that what you guys are doing. Is there a way for a brand to find another brand within Charm so they can team up? Okay, no. See, we have an idea. So actually, you guys can use Charm. Let's say you have a brand. You're selling whatever. Let's say kitchen, like barbecue stuff, whatever. You can find another brand which is not competing with you with Charm. If they have a good audience, you can approach them. You can say, "Hey guys, let's cross promote." And the good stuff is that you're not gonna pay anything. I mean, this is not like a service. No, you promote, they promote, and you pay zero. Okay, exactly. we got one. The first hack, for 2023. So write this down, man. This is free. You don't pay anything. That's what we do with the partners. So we can move to the brand. So let's move to the next question. This is for you again, Seth. So the question is, what separates the brand expand from other product launch agencies and softwares? How do you help Amazon and omni-channel sellers?
Yeah, there's not a lot of softwares I think that are doing what we're doing. A lot of them will do take one tactic, Google with Amazon attribution, or do I dare say rebates, right? Or use one different tactic for driving traffic. We're creating a suite of tools to drive traffic in a lot of different ways, and also everything's omni-channel. So you don't have not just driving to Amazon. I think it's really important that sellers start diversifying now. And I know this is kind of like an ongoing joke about Walmart and how bad it is in terms of, your return on your investment, but they're going to continue to chip away at Amazon's market share. There's a lot of statistics that show that Walmart's poised to really take over a lot more marketing share. So getting on there now and getting established and getting traffic and maybe getting reviews in a compliant way, rather than waiting until there's a lot more third-party sellers, is a smart move, in my opinion. And so we help drive traffic to all these different channels, and then also build out additional KPI tools, and also like marketing research tools. So we're having our buyers do what we call tasks to provide feedback to our sellers to say, hey, this part of your listing needs improvement, or you have a typo in this part of your listing, or whatever else, right? That type of feedback has been kind of pulled away over the years. Like Amazon has just really limited what you can see about customers. I mean, they don't even give you the first name, right? So we want to provide that more transparency into what your customers are thinking about your product, in addition to doing omni-channel and driving traffic in multiple different ways.
Okay, thanks, Seth. I think you guys cannot answer these questions because it's for brand expand. So let's move to the next one, and we can move to the next speaker, which is me. So this is from Evelyn. Across the thousands of launches you guys have done or participated over the years, what do you see is working best? I guess this is a question for you, Seth, and for the others as well.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned this before, but like before the TOS update in November last year, like we had the most ridiculous type of launch. What we did is we took 1,000 launches that we did previously, and we saw, okay, what was working best. And it was a form of compare buys. It was a form of add to cards, helpful votes, wish list ads, all this different stuff, kind of like fused together in this ultimate launch. And then we had people that were just doing regular, basically organic launches, where the customers are acting in a very organic way. And research shows time and time again that if you just do the latter and you have them act in an organic way, in a compliant, organic way, that's going to help far more than any other, tactic. And we've had sellers do the most crazy, rotators to different social redirects, using 5 different types of special URLs, like all this different stuff. And it doesn't do any better than having, again, a customer act in a very organic way, finding your product organically.
Okay, guys.
The challenge is really, being able to do that, I think, is the biggest challenge for sellers. because they hear that and they're like, well, how do I do that? Right? It's really, really challenging. And so that's kind of what we're building right now is a software that can do that in a compliant way. So yeah.
Okay, Chaim, Jim, John. Jim, I know that you used to be a sailor. So is there something that used to work when you were a sailor and which still works and that some people are not using? What do you think? What hasn't changed?
Look, I think it's getting more and more old school and less complex launching a brand on Amazon. So that's the good news. The platform's less about hacks and it's about running a good old-fashioned business. You need to be a proper business person. You need to build a brand. Your listings have to be A star quality, because it doesn't matter what hacks you have. At the end of the day, if your listing's not converting, that's going to be like a lead weight on your. So you can rank a product, but like Seth was saying, if the product's not worthy by price, by differentiation, by listing, and all those important things, it's going to die. So you have to be brilliant. And then the other stuff that's increasingly important over time, and this impacts ranking as well as actually making money, and we'll touch on this later, is your inventory management and all that kind of stuff, because Amazon is watching all the time how you manage that business, and they've got all these metrics on how you're running in the back end of that business. So, are all the fields filled in Seller Central? Because you don't have to fill half of them in, but if you do, Amazon likes it. Have you got a climate pledge? Have you got a small business badge? Is it a female-run business? All of these little things affect conversion for the seller experience, or the buyer experience, and Amazon loves that stuff as well. So really use every field and every badge you can in Seller Central, and then run the business well around inventory management and quality listings. None of that's clever, right? But it's amazing how many people don't do all of that. They do just one piece and forget a lot of the other things.
100%.
Yeah. Step one is about really having quality products. That would be, if whatever it is that you're looking to launch, it's really doing, similar to what Jim said in the old school stuff, is like going through, existing listings, looking at the reviews. You can export those sometimes to Excel and then pick up on keywords and things like that are showing as what people are complaining about. And then make a better product and make sure that you're monitoring your own reviews, to make sure that you're picking up on customer feedback and updating your products that way. Because again, it's not all about just bringing traffic to it. Yes, that is certainly super important, is to get eyes, on your page and on your item, but you need to start with an item. And without starting with that item, that's going to generate those, the positive feedback and be something of quality that people actually want to hold on to and not just buy and return, etc., which will also affect your metrics in the end, is something that's uber important in terms of a launch, I think.
Yeah, and I can speak through the lens of what Charm enables and really identifying who your key competitors are in the broad e-commerce landscape, not just Amazon specifically, but understanding how they're gaining market share, leveraging those competitive insights to build lookalike audiences. We provide social overlap. So really gaining a full view of the competitive landscape and understanding what tactics they're taking to gain market share in your specific vertical.
Okay, thanks, guys. I think you gave too much tips already. So let's pull the webinar and talk about taxes now, because no matter what you do, there is nothing certain in life. One is obviously Argentina winning the World Cup, and the second one is taxes. So let's see. Let me share my screen and try to scare you off. But I have some good news now. Taxes, are actually easier in Europe. But before we go into taxes, I'm gonna tell you why I'm even gonna talk about Europe. So I'll give you some stats now why you should even bother expanding, because USA is the biggest market, which is right, but not exactly, because in the USA you have like a population of 350 million. In Europe you have 450 people over 18, meaning these guys are all potential clients. Amazon Europe has like 300 million unique views, and this is 50% more than the US is. So that's good news. Amazon Europe has 1.1 million sellers compared to 2.5 in the Amazon US. So you guys have less competition, more traffic. You're gonna be selling your brand to a whole new continent, 50 countries, 24 languages, 25 currencies. And of course, if your competitors are not doing that, they're missing out. So, and the last part is you're going to be ordering a lot more stock because it's a whole new continent, but you can actually save on the supply costs from your logistics. So these are few very good reasons. No, it might be harder, but it's less competitive, meaning that if you start selling here, if you establish yourself, it will be a long-term revenue stream. So if you're doing well in the USA, if you're not considering Europe, you're crazy. So this should be on your list for 2023. So these are just some stats, and I love numbers because numbers is what convinced me and what can convince you to make the next step. So, but of course, no, you're gonna say, okay, but what are the blockers? Now, what is stopping us? So the first thing, this is regardless of Europe or any market, is having the right product. So there is plenty of research tools. You can see what you're selling already. You can check if you have an idea, if what is the competition in Europe. You can check in which markets you can actually have like a soft launch and all this stuff. You have all these tools to do that. So you do your research before you start selling the product, because if you don't have a product, you cannot go anywhere. So let's say you figure out the product, you've done your research and you're ready to go. Then the next things that you will need to consider are VAT, value-added taxes. So if you're from the States or if you're selling in the States, this is the same like the sales tax. But the difference is here is that each country has a different VAT, which is much better compared to the USA, where we have 12,000 jurisdictions. So it's less complicated, and it's even less complicated since they made the change last year. But VAT is the first thing that you need. If you're gonna sell on Amazon, any marketplace, you need to get the VAT number. It usually takes a few months, 2 to 4 months. So you apply for the VAT number before you start selling. The second part, which you must consider, is product compliance, because depending on what product you're planning to sell, you need to see if you comply and you have the certain certificates. The good news is that we have partners for that. They can help you out, and you need to just do the check on that. The other part is fiscal representation insurance. In some markets, this is required, and that's why it's good to talk with people who are specialists, who are experts at that, so they can recommend you markets where this is not required, because fiscal representation means more money, and we don't want you to pay more money. I hate to pay money for anything. So if we can save money and do like an easy launch on your product, that's what we recommend. Next things that you need are customs and logistics. So until we're waiting for your VAT number to be issued, we connect with customs and logistics partners who can help you import your stock to Europe or organize your logistics if you're not going to use, for example, Amazon API. And we have all these guys as part of our network. And the last, but not the least, and extremely important, is the cultural language barrier. But don't be scared. No, we have partners for that as well. These are companies who are dealing with Amazon and e-commerce, listings and translations, localization. And remember that never use a software. You need a localized agency with native speakers so they can do the proper listing and translations, because even for English speakers, the translations for the UK is different than the USA. In the USA, they call it like practice. In the UK is training, if I'm not mistaken, Jim. So there is some words like that. So it's important to have the right translation, otherwise people are not going to buy your stuff. And a good example for that is Amazon. They launched Amazon Sweden last year, and they used some of their softwares, and it was total mess. So obviously, remember that. And I've been selling in Europe for 10 years, so I know from experience that translation are extremely important now. And if you get all these things right, the only thing that you need to do is what you used to be doing already in the other markets, like PPC, growth, etc. So these are the blockers. And I'm going to talk more about what problems we're solving, because hellotax is a VAT compliance provider. And just to put it as simple as possible, we get you the VAT number in Europe. We have a software. We connect your sales channels, Amazon, Shopify, and we file your returns. We have account managers who deal with your communication with the tax authority. So we remove the first block. This is the thing what we do. I used to be a client of hellotax, so I know from firsthand experience why a company like that is vital. We cover all the major markets in Europe, and we're built by ex-e-commerce sellers. So we're e-commerce tailored solution. And when you're selling in Europe, I'm not going to go into depth, but there's a few things that you need to consider, which is your responsibility if you decide to do it yourself. So you need to know your VAT liability in the past, in the present. You need to register for one or more countries. If you're moving goods between markets, you need to know that. And the last part is you need to have complete visibility across your sales channels, which is Amazon, Shopify, and multiple other marketplaces across Europe. So these are the things that are your responsibility and which we do for you. So you don't need to worry about that. The next question is, okay, Nick, I would like to sell in Europe. I spoke with Amazon and they told me go and do the panel. Okay, don't listen to Amazon. I mean, Amazon makes money from fees. So if they can tell you to do like 20 VAT registration, but that is not smart because different countries, they have different procedures. They require different documents and it takes a different period of time. So this is why we have this chart here. The easiest market to register are Poland, Germany, Italy. And Spain, you should avoid that unless you're a Spanish speaker and you must, or you have decided to go there, because in Spain, they require original documentation, notary translation, all this stuff. So Spain for vacation, and then for VAT, if you're trying to expand, remember that like Poland, Germany, Italy are the places to go. And Germany is the one which we always recommend. Before it used to be the UK, but after Brexit, no, things have changed a bit. So now Germany is probably the go-to market for a lot of companies. But I'm going into details a little later about why we recommend that. So why should I bother with VAT? Now, why do I need VAT? It's really simple. Before there was something called the distance selling threshold. Good news is this has been removed since last July, meaning that you don't have different distance selling thresholds. Once you sell for 10,000 euro, you can opt in for the so-called all one-stop shop. One VAT registration, one-stop shop, and you can sell across the whole European Union just from your home country. And this is only if you hold stock in one market. So just to keep it simple, it's much easier right now. You don't need to do that, and we can do that through hellotax. The second reason is if you store goods in any given country. If you store goods in Germany, you need one VAT. If you store goods in UK, you need the second. If you store goods in Italy, you need the third VAT. If you do the PANI, you would need to do the VAT registration in multiple markets. And of course, when you do that, you would need to get multiple VATs, but this is very good for established brands because you can make quicker deliveries to your clients. But of course, it's more expensive when you start like that from the beginning. And okay, I fast forward a little bit. So what is our solution? What we always recommend? So when you expand to Europe, always start with one market. Unless you're an established company and you know that you would like to go for the pioneer. And why? What is the reason for that? You start in one market. Germany, UK is still an option, but you go for the AFN, which is the European Fulfillment Network. You can fulfill orders from the UK to EU, but of course, as long as your products are under 150 euro, you don't go for customs, but still is not the ideal option anymore. So we recommend Germany. Germany, besides the easy VAT registration, there is something that a lot of companies don't know. There is a specific dedicated tax authorities for US companies. So if you're a UK's business, you're going to get the VAT later compared to a US company because the US tax authority is going to issue it quicker. So you guys have an advantage. Another thing is, they don't require translations in Germany. If you're an English speaker coming from English-speaking country, you can provide them in English. So this is another bonus. This other part is Germany is located in the center of Europe. So it could be like an ideal hub to expand from Germany and sell across the whole continent to clients. So you save money. You don't need to do like multiple VATs. And the last, but not the least, is that they don't require fiscal representation, meaning, you pay less. So these are few of the reasons which are very important. And the last, of course, Amazon.com is the second biggest market in Europe and the biggest economy. So these are all reasons why you should consider that. And just to start here, you just need one VAT if you're like a non-EU company, and that's it. And you can make deliveries to clients across the whole European Union. You're gonna do the VAT filing. We can do that for you. And this is for Amazon. If you're selling for Shopify and other platforms which are not like Amazon or eBay, you would need to have the OSS registration. The OSS registration is gonna allow you to do B2C sales and deliveries across the whole continent. So just to keep it simple, if you sell on Amazon, you just need one VAT. If you sell on Shopify as well, or your dedicated website, you would need to have the OSS. And the reason for that is that you can actually start selling in Europe. If you're a new brand, you can test the different markets. And if you validate that you're selling well in Spain, Italy, France, then it makes sense to set up a second VAT and hold storage there so you can make quicker deliveries. But if you want to keep the cost as little as possible, if you want to avoid too much bureaucracy, this is the way. This is what we recommend. And you can expand after that. So we provide the software, we provide account managers and advisors in each of the markets. We have people speaking multiple languages, and we just make it easy for you guys. So I'm not going to go into details. We have a free tool. We're going to send that in the email after the webinar. You can check it out. And if you did not get scared by me, we're offering 6 free VAT registrations now for anybody who is brave enough to come to Europe and start, selling here. So thank you for that. I'm gonna finish and I'll let the next guy go. And I think I need to check my agenda, but I think it was you, Chaim, right? Yeah. So, or actually, you know what? We might do the questions. I forgot my agenda. So, okay. So let's do my questions. Let me ask a question from somebody who's in beginning before the webinar. So the question is the following: can I use the old VAT regime instead of OSS? Of course. I mean, if you want to pay more, you can do that. But we don't recommend to that because this would mean that whenever you hit the threshold, you would need to register in each market, even though you're fulfilling from your home country or the home country that you have decided if you're non-EU. So don't do that. They made it easy on purpose to make it easier for sellers to expand with less bureaucracy. So don't do that. I'm not sure if you guys want to jump in the VAT topic. If not, I can go to the next question. Okay, everybody is smiling. Nobody want to talk about taxes. I don't want to pay as well, but anyways, man, nobody is asking you. So,
Nick, one thing I would say, just in terms of the size of the opportunity, I think is it fair to say that coming US into Europe, most sellers can expect between 30 and 50% growth on their business, and so
yeah, I think.
What always surprised me is when I talk to US seller friends is that they see Europe as super complicated, and they will put money into launching products and stuff like that in the US, which has a very high failure rate these days, and they see that as a better way to deploy capital than to launch the same SKUs that have the reviews that port over into Europe, the same supply chain. It's literally just all you have to do. The one small barrier is getting VAT compliant and a couple of other things. And you've got a reasonably safe way of adding 30% to your business. And if anyone else said, how do I add 30% to my business? And you gave them that easy solution, they would jump on it. But for some reason, a lot of American sellers see coming to Europe as like the worst thing they could possibly do and very difficult. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we need to change our mind. And I'm going to quote Jerome from our webinar last year. Jerome said, Europe is hard to start, but when you establish yourself with a long-term revenue stream, because less competition, it's easier to stay on top. So obviously just need to make the first step in. And if you combine all the markets, you might be making less sales, but you have higher profit, and profit is more important than sales. So of course it's your choice, guys, but it's not bad here. Now it's winter, it's not great, but January is a great time for actually getting the VAT and start expanding. Q1, setting up the VAT, Q2, expanding, Q3, optimizing in Q4, killing it in Europe, and then getting your new wife from Europe and you go on vacation in the Caribbean with all the profit. So, I think that's it, guys. So Chaim, let's move to you guys. I mean, before everybody's going away because of the taxes. So tell us more about you, what you guys do at Threecolts. I'm very curious about these Threecolts now. Free guns or whatever you guys do. Tell me the story about the name.
Absolutely. So I'm Chaim Morgan. I originally hail as the director of business development with Refund Sniper, which is a company that does refunds and reimbursements for Amazon sellers and vendors. About 7-8 months ago now, Refund Sniper was acquired by Threecolts, a venture capital-backed company based in London. So we've been with them now for almost 8 months now as one of the tools within their suite. And I am now director of development, global director of development for reimbursements in that space as well. So just to cover what we're going to talk about today, first of all, who is Threecolts? Like you just asked, Nick. Our customers, how we improve Amazon business profits by 20% or more, and what our mission is. So let's jump right into it. Threecolts is a cloud suite for marketplace business. We've been acquiring and developing a suite of e-commerce tools to be able to assist with growing profits in the Amazon and e-commerce space. So the cool thing about Threecolts is that there's all these super powerful tools that you can use, either one of the tools, some of the tools, or all of the tools to be able to assist you with growing in the Amazon and e-commerce space. I guess you could think of us sort of as the Adobe for Amazon and e-commerce. Suite of super powerful tools, work together, but also can work independently based on whatever your needs are. Turn them on, turn them off at need. So Threecolts is changing the way Amazon and e-com businesses scale. The mission here is to help Amazon businesses grow their profits through recovery, growth, and optimization. So we're going to focus on those 3 category buckets: recovery, growth, and optimization. So our suite of products is quite robust. We're able to accommodate the needs of Fortune 500 companies, large aggregators, e-commerce agencies, private label sellers, arbitrage sellers, side hustlers, people selling one product, up to people having catalogs of thousands of products. So because the suite of products is so robust across that spectrum, we're able to take care of all types of Amazon and e-com businesses across the spectrum. If we look at the numbers of Threecolts, we have over 15,000 customers combined, over 100 team members today between all the companies that are now part of Threecolts. Over 50 plus monthly new features that come out on a regular basis. One of our strengths is that we have acquired Amazon and e-com household names in this space. Feedback Wiz, Refund Sniper, Channel Reply. These are all names of really established Amazon SaaS businesses that have been around in the Amazon and e-com marketplace for many years with strong customer bases. And we're now bringing those all together under this one flagship brand of Threecolts. The cool part is that we have not changed the structure of the businesses that we're acquiring. So those businesses are remaining intact and as robust as they were before. They're only more powerful now by having this large team that supports one another in this space, as well as going forward, we're going to have the capability to have as many of the products or tools that customers will choose to use to be able to interact with each other and then offer a whole new unmatched level of superiority to be able to really push ahead and take profitable growth to the next level. So currently in our product suite lineup, we could divide that into like 5 buckets right now. We have FinOps, financial operations, rev growth, customer service, data and visualizations, and reseller tools. So in the financial operations space, right now we focus heavily in the profit recovery space for both Amazon sellers and vendors. Seller Bench and Refund Sniper are the 2 brands under that category. And a roadmap there of something that we're looking forward to. Currently, we have Walmart WFS auditing as well. That's something that's been requested forever and ever. And now that's in the beta program as well. In the revenue growth space, we have Hotshop, which is AI-driven content creation and automation. Bindwise, which is alerting software that you can set up a host, an array of different types of alerts. Now, alerts obviously help to minimize lost revenue that would come through issues such as like, buy box or issues or out of stock issues. And normally if you don't have an alerting system set up, by the time you discover that issue, you could be sitting on potentially large amounts of lost revenue with an alerting issue, and that can sync with whatever you use to do your normal course of business, Slack or whatever it is. Just drop alerts in Slack to let you know, hey, this item is out of stock or is running low on stock or is the buy box is out or whatever it is, etc. And this way you can react much quicker. Feedback Wiz would be in that category as well. Feedback Wiz is a well-known Amazon SaaS company. It's been around for a long time. So of course their flagship product is their review request automation. They also have the Feedback Wiz Profit Analytics tool, which they launched a little while ago. Extremely powerful tool. Prior to joining Refund Sniper and now Threecolts. So I oversaw Amazon sales for a pet supplies company, as well as built a private label brand for them. And I can honestly say that had I had the Feedback Wiz Profit Analytics tool back then, that likely would have been a tremendous game changer. The way it's able to lay out like a clear view of where you're actually making money and where you need to focus on, and the amount of data that it pulls in on just a click of a button is something that's unmatched, something I've never seen before. And it also has, as a part of it, an alerting software that will send off alerts to you based on certain metrics and parameters that you put in place. We also have OSM, Old Street Media. That's an advertising service where users can manage and optimize ad spend on Amazon. We do this also with robust reporting as well, that you can track your performance. Jumping over to customer service, we've got Channel Reply, which is a marketplace customer communications software that it integrates all your marketplace customer communications into one central help desk, such as a Fresh Desk or anything like that. Then into data and visualizations. So we've got Princelet, SQL or SQL. It's more for like ops and analytics teams. You could integrate any eCom relational data. So Google Analytics, SP API data. You can create drag and drop dashboards, also incorporate, so you can bring in your own data as well as incorporate Threecolts related data into that imported data to give you that one big view of blend everything together. Whatever you may be importing from outside, as well as whatever services you're using from the Threecolts side, you're able to bring those all together into one dashboard. So basically, you'd set this up in a way where you're querying the data, creating a visualization, and then creating dashboards which schedule regularly to update based on whatever parameters you set. Enterprise API is also in that category. That's a highly customizable product for individual use cases. So we have a wealth of pricing history and data that we have stored, and we can use that enterprise API. Clients can use that for individual use cases such as supply chain management, map management, etc. It's really very customizable. And then in the reseller tools, we've got TA, Tactical Arbitrage. They've been around for really long time, basically where you buy from one website, sell on another. So Tactical Arbitrage identifies the opportunity, and then the client will choose how to sell it, how to purchase it, and how to sell it. Do they want to sell FBM, FBA, et cetera, et cetera? Then we've got Seller Running, one of our more recent acquisitions. That's cross-market arbitrage, so you can cross-list across marketplaces, buy on one and sell on the other across different regions. Where you don't have to actually send in physical product, but rather it's going to automatically just grab orders and then route them for you to that other marketplace. And then we have Scout IQ, which is physical arbitrage. So there's got an app, you can go into the store, scan items, and then it'll tell you, is this a great opportunity or is it not a great opportunity? Future roadmap in the revenue growth space is Feedback Wiz Profit Analytics tool. Hopefully is going to be integrating eventually into accounting software such as QuickBooks and things like that. So that'll really take that product to the next level. We work with all types of Amazon businesses, so 1P sellers, enterprise brands, anyone selling products directly to Amazon. We have a robust suite of tools that can help there, especially in using Refund Sniper for the vendor central deduction issues. Making sure that all inventory is paid for, and all co-op fees are deducted properly, and shortage dispute management. So that's something that's super powerful in that space. And then of course we help all types of 3P sellers, whether they're online brands, arbitrage, wholesalers, agencies, and aggregators, etc. We have of our 15,000, I should say, on the top there of paying customers. We obviously have some major names that you'd recognize from across the spectrum. In specifically, one of the main areas that we focus on, obviously, is the profit recovery space, where we have Seller Bench and Refund Sniper. Seller Bench will focus primarily on the US, more of an ongoing process. Refund Sniper focuses globally when it comes to profit recovery. And we do that more on a quarterly basis, as well as also servicing Amazon 1P vendors. And then we have the Feedback Wiz profit analytics tool that I mentioned earlier, which really gives sellers a tremendous insight in real time into seeing which of their products are performing well, which are not performing as well, what needs my attention right now at this very moment, so that they can make data-oriented decisions in real time to help be able to grow their business. So this is really Threecolts and where we're going. And I think that in 2023, we're going to be able to, take our clients that are signing up with us literally to the next level through, merging all these various SaaS tools together.
Thank you. Okay, that was good, man. We're like sniper today. A lot of data in all time. So let's go to the question. By the way, Jim, I like this new style with the questions at the end of each session. So let me see. We had some questions here before the webinar. This is from Robin. Okay, can you elaborate on the Feedback Wiz profit analytics tool?
Sure, absolutely. So basically, that is a product from within the Feedback Wiz suite, where basically you get set up with this incredibly powerful dashboard that it imports all your Amazon listings, and then basically it breaks out your profits. It imports all your fees, all your PPC, all your Amazon fees, everything like that in real time. You can also upload all your own COGS and all your own expenses into that. And then it's got multiple different types of dashboards and ways that you can categorize the products, as well as do cross comparison in different across different metrics. The power in that is really seeing how things perform, whether it's over time or comparing them against each other. So let's just say I sell apparel and I've got red categories and blue category, etc. And I'd like to know, is this color do better, or does this color do better? Where should I focus my resources? Or let's just say that you also use Feedback Wiz for your customer feedback and customer reviews. You can set up lists from within your products for items that have poor review rankings right now, to monitor them over time and see. So I can create like a list of, these are my 10 SKUs that right now are not doing so well because they've got poor Amazon reviews, and then pull all the data like that based on, week over week, day by day, month over month, year over year. And you see those in these cards that are laid out in front of you with everything just laid out, or you can also have it done in graphs. And the visual that it puts in front of you literally is just like, is this working? Is it not? And where do I need to put my focus? It's incredibly powerful. Like I mentioned in the beginning, had I had that, a couple years ago when I was in this space, would have been an absolute game changer.
Okay, thanks, Chaim. So, Jim, John said, what do you think about the reviews? Obviously, the tool is great, but do you think, like having the reviews is probably one of the key things that can actually, make your brand actually go up or down? What do you think?
Did you say to me?
Yeah, to everybody,
I think it's all about conversion, and reviews as part of that. So I just think sellers need to obsess about everything that drives conversion, from the main image that gets the click through. So when they land on the listing, it's all about conversion, because the success now, of course, it's about the product, and that's part of it. But listings the listings that convert best are the listings that will rank and will have the lowest cost per click, because the algorithm will see high relevancy, so they won't punish them on the bid algorithm. So conversion has to be, once you've got a great product, make sure that product converts on a digital page.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just one input. It's multi-factor.
I think any large seller, has to have an automated solution for review requests. Obviously, like Jim said, product quality is number one. If your product's rated a 3.5, it's not because you're getting bad people reviewing your products. It's because your product's bad and needs to be improved, right? But creating an automated solution for that, and like Chaim was saying, like get that on a granular level where you can see statistics around what campaigns are working for these requests and what isn't, is I think extremely important.
Okay, guys, you're fast with the questions and the answers as well, so we can make it without overtime and watch the World Cup. So we have another question from this is from Theo. Okay, Theo, what is the difference between a refund sniper and seller bench if they're both in the reimbursement space?
That is an excellent question. So seller bench focuses on the US market and is more of an ongoing process where they're auditing inventory, Amazon FBA inventory on a regular basis. There's also a really cool product that's a part of the seller bench suite that's called the FBA fee protector. And basically that's a product where you can upload all your dimensions and weights and then have them analyzed in real time every 24 hours against what Amazon is actually showing for those fees and identifying where the discrepancies are. And then they bring them to your attention and offer to open a case for you on that. But seller bench is in the FBA market, FBA US market. Refund Sniper is global, so it's a lot more broad than that. We do every Amazon marketplace globally. We also have a different process in how we analyze for the reimbursements, as well as we do them on a quarterly basis, only once every 90 days. Obviously, we're highly customizable. We could do it on a monthly basis or other frequencies for when we get specific requests, but that's our general way of doing it, as well as we also service Amazon vendors in the 1P space. So that's where we differ in terms of these two products and why they would both exist under the same company.
Okay, thanks, man. So again, I guess we should go to Jim now, and I'm gonna briefly introduce Jim because we know each other from a long time ago. He introduced me to my first client for the partnership agency. This first client made over $500,000 last year, so the client is happy, I'm happy, and of course I'm happy to know Jim. But Jim is gonna talk about himself, what he's doing. He used to live in Spain, so I'm sure he's biased, but don't go there for taxes. So tell us more about you, Jim, and what you're doing with GETIDA in Europe.
Yeah, I can
thanks
verify.
for joining.
Do not do anything to do with administration in Spain. Go there on holiday and relax. Do not do business there. And Nick, you never told me about this. I'm still waiting for my brown envelope for the introducer's fee. What's this about all this money?
Yeah, money, man. Who's talking about money? I don't take money from everybody.
All right.
From
So
anybody.
listen, how are we doing for time? Are we? What time are we? Because the kickoff's quite soon. How much time we got?
Yeah,
left?
man. I'm watching the World Cup already. So
okay.
If you guys don't have a screen, it's your problem.
All right. So listen, I'll keep it short. So I'm Jim. I'm VP of Europe for GETIDA. I'll talk about GETIDA in a minute and give you some ideas around optimizing cash flow and profit in 2023. Before GETIDA, I was a seller myself, full-time from 2013. I built a multi-seven-figure brand up until 2020. And then I joined Thrasio, an aggregator, and ended up running the M&A team for Europe for Thrasio before joining GETIDA. So I've been a seller myself for many years. I've watched Amazon evolve through FBA. And then I looked at Thrasio, hundreds of FBA businesses, and I've got a good idea of, if you ever want to sell your business, what acquirers are looking at. And also saw, what people were doing well and common patterns around FBA sellers and what's going on in the market. And, GETIDA, we audit a huge amount of transactions daily. So we also have very good insight as to what's going on in the market with the FBA trends. So I'm just going to quickly share screen with you. Give me one moment. Can you guys see that?
Yes, I can see it.
Is that loading? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm going to fly through some slides because I'm conscious of time and kick off. And I know, John, you're sitting there waiting patiently. So, I've talked just now. Who's GETIDA? GETIDA is short for Get Intelligent Data Analytics. We do one thing and we do it really well. We reconcile all Amazon FBA transactions for our clients. We work very closely with Amazon. We're an approved service software provider. We have a dedicated team of nearly 100 people. Many of them are ex-Amazon FBA reimbursement team employees. And so, you know, there really isn't another more specialist team around auditing and reimbursing transactions for FBA sellers. You know, the leadership team themselves, you know, I'm an ex-seller. You can see Yoni here, who's the co-founder. Yoni had a $20 million business himself before, and actually this tool came out of an internal tool that he shared with friends, and that's evolved into a business in itself. He's no longer selling; he's exited from that business. Yoni hosts a podcast called Prime Talk, and we also have Sellonomics, which is hosted by Rob, who's our CMO, with Lisa, who runs events and partnerships. Our belief is that whilst we make money from helping people get reimbursements, our goal is actually to help our sellers grow. So we do a lot of stuff.
Do you hear him, guys?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good on mine.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can. Yep.
Okay,
I can hear.
so it's probably the issue with me.
Okay. It's because you're streaming the World Cup. Turn the football off. You know, our belief is that we obviously offer a service to sellers, but our real passion is about helping sellers grow their businesses, and grow their business. Obviously, we benefit from that as well. And so these two podcasts, if you don't already know them, are worth following: Sellonomics and Prime Talk. Okay, I'm going to move on quickly. So this is about cash flow for next year. So there's some updates coming which are going to impact all of us as sellers. It's a lot of data on here. Just scan the QR code. It will take you through to your Seller Central account and the relevant page that has this information. But just to fly through it, outbound rates are going to be increasing to 22 cents on average. They're going to increase new granular weight tiers for FBA fees. And there are also some specifics that are going to affect apparel. So, you know, use this QR code, please, or take a picture of this and get a cup of cocoa later after the soccer, and you can read this. Also, there are going to be some changes to off-season and high season. So as we all know, in Q4, Amazon increased their fees. There's going to be some different changing fees for off-season and high season in FBA next year. This stuff's going to really potentially impact your cash flow and margins. So keep an eye on this stuff and plan for it. The second slide on this, again, there are going to be so let me take a step back. As we all know, Amazon does not want to be a warehouse. Amazon wants to be a fulfillment center. And by definition, they therefore want your product to touch their walls for as short a time as possible. So if you are very efficient with your inventory management, Amazon will reward you in ways that we don't officially know about. But most importantly, they will penalize you if you're not. So they have a sales to storage ratio. If your sales to storage ratio hits a certain metric, here the analysis is that 7.5% of sellers are going to be affected. So if you have slow moving inventory, and Amazon will start to penalize you. Now, another facet of the same thing, this stuff all compounds. There are going to be surcharge changes to inventory age between 271 and 365 days, and another one for 180 to 270. Now, I know this is boring and geeky, but it's really important, this stuff. And then the third part of the hit here is if you have removal orders, again, often a removal order is a symptom of bad inventory management. They're going to change the fees and probably hit you harder on removal orders. So when you put all three together, big focus for 2023 that's going to drive profit. Make sure you're really on your inventory management and your optimization. Your sales to inventory ratio in FBA is going to be a big driver for your fees in FBA next year. Okay. And you can scan the QR code again. That'll take you to the detail page on your Seller Central to tell you about that in detail. Now, reimbursements, which is what we do. A quick helicopter view. There's 5 main recovery types to get reimbursed from Amazon FBA transactions. Inbound shipments. This typically is where you send in 1,000 units. Amazon says they've received 100 at 900. There's a discrepancy of 100 units. You have a window of 6 months in the UK and 9 months in the USA to go back and raise a ticket. For lost and damaged, again, similarly, this might be where they've opened a box, they've cut, they've put a blade through your product and damaged it. Returns where Amazon has refunded the customer through their error, not yours. They owe you a reimbursement. And removal orders, again, sometimes you'll put a removal order for 1,000 units, 900 turn up at your 3PL. You have to go and reconcile the 100 that are missing. For all all three of those, you have an 18-month window to look back, open cases and reconcile, which is great. If you've never done this, it's a big opportunity. Now, weights and dimensions. This is where we probably as sellers have all experienced this, where Amazon suddenly decide your product has doubled in size and had too much turkey for Christmas and weighs more than it actually does. And they start charging you as if that were true. You have an opportunity for 3 months when you spot that to go back, raise a ticket, get it Cuba scanned, get the right weights and dimensions put back into Seller Central, and then being reimbursed for the overcharge for that period. And the second part of that is on inbound shipments. If Amazon thinks the product weighs more than it actually does, or is bigger than it actually is, that will impact the weights received and the fees you have on the inbound shipment as well. So there are two sort of reconcile opportunities there, which you really need to keep an eye on. Now I'm going to show you quickly how you could do this yourself. Okay. Go to Seller Central, go to inventory, go to manage my FBA shipments. You will see in there, you will see all of your shipments, and just have a quick look. You can see here 10 expected, 10 received. Here 30 expected, none received, but it's okay because it's still in transit. Here, the same again here, 12 expected, none received, in transit. That's fine. Here we got 10 and 10. That's great. Here we got 7 and 7. So that's all fine. But then here, look what we found here. Units expected 216, units received 0, and the status is closed. That is when you need to open a ticket with Amazon, open a case, because Amazon thinks you've received 0 and you sent 216. That's lost. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is research missing units. Amazon would normally ask you for a proof of delivery or proof of purchase, which you can then upload here in Seller Central. And for those of you who don't know, a proof of delivery is a bill of lading. Again, you can scan the QR code here, so don't worry about this. A proof of delivery is a bill of lading. This is basically Amazon stamping a document saying they received the goods. Now you need to give that to Amazon normally to have a proof of delivery. Or proof of purchase is when you are either buying as a reseller or from your manufacturer, could be an invoice or receipt or signed packing slip. You have to provide that. And those are the documents they will receive to go and reconcile the shipment and prove that actually you sent or you bought the units you say that are missing. Okay. I'm going to fly through this one because we've touched on weights and dimensions. If you're doing this yourself, some stuff that's really important, because your account health is affected by how you transact with your cases. And if you open fake cases or you do stuff that is trying to manipulate the situation, like anything else with Amazon, they will punish you. So do open cases in the timeline provided, because obviously if you miss the window, there's no chance of getting money back. And reply to open cases instead of opening new cases. Amazon hates it when you open multiple cases for the same thing. And keep your calm, stay professional. It's hard with Seller Central, we've got to do it. That's it. Let's stay on the things that you do want to do. Okay. We've got some tools here, which please feel free to scan the QR code. If you haven't already got this, there's a free profit and loss tool. And there's also how to read an income statement. So again, we try and help provide tools and advice for sellers beyond reimbursements. And here's a couple of things that you can get here by scanning the QR code as a little value add from today. Reimbursements are very simple in principle, but it's actually quite a complex process. And there are a lot of things that you have to reconcile. So you can see on the screen here, the number of case types that you need to be tracking to maximize your possible reimbursements. And I think this is probably where services like ours come from, where there comes a point where you realize that the time it takes and the professionalism required to keep an eye on this, which is always evolving, means that by definition, you don't get the money back that you could be getting. And so eventually people come to the realization that paying someone like GETIDA to do this for you, who have that very high case success rates. We win 80% of cases we open. Even when you pay someone to do that for you, the cost of doing that for you is much less than the actual total net cash you receive every month in reimbursement. So I'm not doing this to sell us, you've got to be realistic. If you're doing this yourself, it's not fun, it's tedious, it's boring, and there are a lot of spinning plates to keep an eye on. So this is the final slide, really. I thought was to bring this into context. So we typically get about 1% of gross revenue back for sellers. So to keep it really simple, if you've got a $300,000 a month seller, we're getting them back $3,000 a month. Now, if that 3,000 is deployed back into PPC, if you're good at PPC, you should expect a 4 times ROAS on that 3,000. So you turn the 3,000 to $12,000. If you redeploy that into inventory, you get contribution margin. If you redeploy that into hiring members of staff, every salary should have a multiplier because you're not going to lose money on the person you hire. That money could go into listing optimization, new images and videos, which will drive sales. So, 1% of revenue return is a lot of money for a big seller. But even if you're a smaller seller, if you're running your business well, if you take that $1 and redeploy it, this stuff becomes really impactful on your business. The other thing I want to say here before we finish is that this is an example of a seller who sold their business. And if you're thinking about selling, let's look at this in context. This was a $18 million seller. They had 318,000 units in sales, and of that, 9,000 units were affected. That's 2.81% of their FBA transactions were affected. And we see a lot of data, and between 1% and 3% of transactions typically qualify to be reconciled. So with this particular client, it was 2.81%. Now, the 151,000 that they were reimbursed drove a 10.92% increase in their profit. Now, if you're trying to sell your business, there's a few things that an acquirer will look at. One is that your EBITDA as a percentage of revenue. If you're below 10% EBITDA or you're 10 to 12%, you're going to struggle to sell your business. So if you can do this and push cash into your trailing 12 months that positively impacts your EBITDA, you take a business that's not particularly attractive into sellable territory, number one. Number two, if you're selling your business for, multiples have come down, but, let's say a 3x multiple, which is probably a realistic expectation today. That 150 becomes 450 when you sell your business because the increase in EBITDA. So I guess the message I want to leave with everyone is that reimbursements are really tedious. You can do it yourself, but if you get $1 back on every 100 you sell and you redeploy that $1 effectively, the $1 could become 5. That becomes 5% increase on your revenue. And if you use a service like this, push button, there aren't many ways to have a 5% impact on your business overnight. And that's when these reimbursement services like GETIDA become really valuable. So I'll leave it there. If anyone wants to try us out, use this QR code. It'll take you to a landing page. We will get to work and we won't charge anything for the first $400 that we get you reimbursed. So this really is $400 of free money. Just follow the link. It's pretty simple. You go to the MWS, you give us user permissions like any other third-party software provider, and then that allows us to audit your transactions and start opening cases for you. And that was, I think, just about in time for the next speaker. Any questions, Nick? Do you want to hand back over to you?
Yeah. Actually, we have a few questions, and for everybody who is watching, we're recording that, we're streaming on YouTube, so you will be able to watch the recording. You can actually pause, scan the QR code, and we're also gonna send the follow-up email with all the giveaways offers, so you're gonna have it there. By the way, Jim, your stuff looks even more complicated than taxes. No, I guess people prefer, my presentation, but yours is even more important because with the tax guys, it's harder. Even if you're right, sometimes you might not get what you deserve. With you guys, obviously you have the experience, and it's very tedious work. And one thing I think you did not mention that, and I think this is the case, you guys get paid only for what you recover. You don't get paid if you don't recover anything, right?
Yeah, so we audit all of your transactions every day. I don't think many people do that. So every day we are in and out of your transactions. We identify the transactions that qualify to be reconciled. That then goes to our case team. There is no bot behavior here. These are real people dealing with Amazon direct. It's a service, not so much a technology at this point. And then when we win the case, Amazon reimburses the seller. When we see the seller's been reimbursed, we debit their card for a percentage of what we've got back for them. So we have a win rate of around 80%, which I don't believe anyone comes near. But that still means that 20% of the work we do, we get no money for. So it's a no-win, no-fee service.
Okay. Actually, it's good that you mentioned it, because this is one of the questions that we have. This is from actually Theo Hernandez, and he's asking, what about the 20% that you don't recover? What is the reason for that?
There are some cases most cases are black and white with terms of service. And so having a specialist team, 100%. The bigger the case, the better Amazon are sometimes pushing back and asking for documents that they're not entitled to ask. And this is what happens when people are doing this themselves, they get pushed back and they go away. So what we find is typically sellers doing it themselves when they get success on 30% of cases they open. Our guys get it up to 80. So there are some cases that are grey and we're not successful on, but 80% is really, really like market leading. It's significant.
Okay. Another question: is there a difference in the success rate in the USA and Europe?
No, as far as I'm aware, it's pretty consistent. The main difference in Europe and US is the time you can look back. So there's a window of time that you can open cases after the transactions happened, and with the US and Europe, it's slightly different on inbound. I don't know why. I wish I knew why.
Okay, guys. So I think we should go to John, because France is already leading. So I'm not gonna. I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Anyways, everybody's from Morocco, the underdogs. But John has. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But since we're using his tool, I can tell you guys this is great. I've chatted with multiple people in the last years. Some of them were trying to build something because there's analytics tools and there is LinkedIn. So nobody has made the connection between data and decision makers. And that's what Charm is doing. So I'll let John introduce themselves, what they're doing, because I love the tool. I'm biased. But anyways, thank you for waiting, John. I'm sure your ass is stiff, but nothing to the man. Just very a lot of questions. So tell us more about you and what you guys do.
Yeah, and I don't want to stand in between everybody in the World Cup, so I'll be short and concise and get through this. But yeah, as Nick mentioned, my name is John Jacobs. I run partnerships for Swiftline. Today, Swiftline is the parent company to two businesses, one being Yardline.com. Yardline is an e-commerce funding and capital solutions business where we provide dynamic access to multiple capital solutions via one unified application experience. So if you're struggling with some of the fee increases and some of the cash constraints that come with selling online, we can help tackle some of those problems. And then Charm.io. Charm is an e-commerce data and analytics platform. One of our primary value props and use cases is enabling our customers who are primarily e-commerce technology businesses, marketing agencies, investors to build the perfect pipeline, utilizing our data and insights. So let's dig in. If I can figure out. Ooh, sorry guys, lagging a bit. So what's the problem? We know that prospecting can be oftentimes a monumental task. We know that 40% of salespeople say that it's part of one of the most challenging parts of the sales process. And even once you've identified those prospects and executed on the outreach, being able to convert those into customers and revenue is highly contingent upon being able to drive personalized messaging. what Charm can do is help to address both of these problems within prospecting. One, enabling our customers to identify their ideal customer profile, and utilizing our data and insights to create customized and personalized messaging that we know will help to convert those prospects into customers. As I mentioned, Charm is a data and analytics platform where we index and rank over 4 million e-commerce brands across 160 plus attributes. Some of these attributes include product category, what marketplace that brand is selling on, technographic data where we understand what fulfillment service they're leveraging, other technologies, website traffic, and some proprietary scores, the growth score, success score, and others. We provide some additional insights around technology use, what their social media presence looks like, what their wholesale presence looks like, and advertising growth over time. We do also include the personal contact data for the key stakeholders within those brands. As I mentioned, the key value prop for Charm is within our prospector tool. So all those little dimensions and data points that we aggregate on a brand level basis can be filtered within our prospector. Being able to leverage that data and identify the segment of the industry that is going to be the most highest converting and highest ROI customer for your solution. Once you've identified those segments and building out different combinations of the levers that we provide, you can build lists. We also offer a CRM integration to kind of complete the sales process via outbound. Some of these insights that we talked about that are being leveraged to influence your messaging, identify prospects at the right time, can be both within their advertising count, utilizing what their ad scores look like, what their growth scores look like, where they're advertising. So depending upon what your solution does, if you're a marketing agency, being able to identify growth levers that you can then take and position within your messaging and operationalize that data in ways to help that brand succeed. If you are a tech company and you want to identify brands that are utilizing competitive technology, you can segment our ecosystem utilizing those levers and go out and capture customers from your competitors. And then the growth and success scores to be able to filter and use combinations of that to identify brands that fit your ICP. Most recently, we spoke to one of our customers. Hey Social is an e-commerce marketing agency. They came to us and were able to leverage our solution. And what we saw, these numbers are a bit dated. They were able to increase the performance of their prospecting more than 5 times actually currently. They added an additional 71 prospects, which resulted in $177,000 of value. And to date, they've closed 7 deals at over $19,000 MRR. So we know that there's a proof point here. We know that that utilizing the data and insights that Charm can provide will help to accelerate and make your prospecting more efficient. So I told you I was going to be quick. I do want to point out before we go to Q&A that if you do want to get a free trial, you can go to this link. We can offer some personalized demos as well, or you can reach out to me directly at john@swiftline.com.
Thank you, John. And again, we're gonna be sending, all the giveaways in the follow-up email tomorrow. So if you miss the webinar or if you need to leave for the game, or whatever, on a date, doesn't matter, you're gonna get the recording. We're gonna break it down in sessions so you can fast forward. If you don't want to listen to the taxes, you can fast forward that. So you can listen to whatever and watch whatever you want. So we have 3 more questions and we're gonna wrap it up. So the first one is from Abdullah. It's from the beginning. His question is, in this day and time, what comes first, community or products? I think this is a question for everybody about, I guess, launching your product. What do you need to build first, a good product or a community, and then the product?
Products first, I would say, always. product is number one. Do that research and make sure you have a killer product. You can have a community as the size of Texas, but it makes no difference if you don't have a product to sell and a product that people want with the features that people want and built and structured in a way that people aren't just going to take it and throw it in the trash or return it.
And I'd say intelligence around the product category that you're launching. Again, going back to what we can do, enabling competitive insights, building out category analysis. Is this a category you'd want to launch a product in even before you do that? So.
Or I have another suggestion. If you have a good product, find a partner with community. If you have a good community, find a guy with one product. So partnerships again. You can do the revenue share, you can do whatever you want, but having both is great. But there is people who are great in product development, they suck at community building and vice versa. Guys which are great in community building and engagement, they cannot figure out a good product. So that's why it's easier to find a partner. So okay, so let's move to the next question. This is from Killian. This is for Charm. Can you filter by marketing technologies?
Yes. So by marketing technologies, as I mentioned, we have technographic data. I can't tell you how many we have offhand, but we've got many marketing technologies that can be filtered in our prospector.
Okay. Another question. This from anonymous attendee. I know the answer to the questions, but I'll let John answer that. Does Charm have Amazon data?
Yeah, so this is something that we've been extremely focused on. We acquired Charm.io just about 6 or 7 months ago, and Amazon capability has been front of mind. Excited to announce that we'll be launching our Amazon prospector sometime in early Q1. Right now it's in user testing. We're pushing the product, guys, but should be coming soon.
Okay. That's great news. Everybody here is waiting for that. Yeah. Okay, so
I'm not going to be the sales guy and sell something we don't have yet.
Yeah. So, but we can test now. How can we sign up for beta testers? Can we do that?
Shoot me an email if you're interested. Shoot me an email. Happy to have that discussion.
Okay, do that. And I think we have the last question again for you. What advertising platforms do you track?
Currently, it's through Meta, so Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, do you guys have plan to add additional ones?
We're always looking at ways that we can optimize the product, and we're the most efficient way is by paying attention to our customers. We've got features that we're launching on a regular cadence. So if there are additional connections and data inputs that are beneficial to our customers, it's certainly something we would evaluate. Okay, and I assume once you have the Amazon feature, you'll be tracking the Amazon sales and all this stuff they do there, right? Correct. We have a lot of data that can be input. Okay, guys. So that was the last question. So unless you guys have any more questions, I'll tell you it's still 1-0, so we haven't missed anything. We had a good webinar. Thanks, Jim, for the suggestion. I think you're right. The flow is good like that. It's more. We don't have too much questions in the end. We answer some questions. Everybody's obviously engaging more with everybody. So I think it's all good. I only had one comment from one of my female employees. She told me, okay, why so all male squad? And I said everybody was shopping on Amazon, all the girls. So okay, guys, somebody needs to be shopping now. Okay, so thank you again, everybody, for joining. I'm Jim, Seth, John.
Thanks,
Enjoy the vacations, and we can kick off something in January again. So thank you again, guys.
All right.
Have a good
Thank you.
Happy Christmas, everyone.